Hello and welcome back to My Mom's Basement, ladies and gentlemen. It is Robbie Fox, and I am here with the NXT Champion Karrion Kross. Karrion, you just had an amazing match WrestleMania weekend with Finn Bálor, and it was a long journey up to this match, right? You had to relinquish the NXT title due to an injury. It was a long journey back to getting that title match, and you get the championship. What was that like after the match? Was it everything you envisioned it being?
It was a little surreal once it was done because people have to understand that this was something for several months that I was waking up to every single day chasing. So finally, when you actually capture this thing you've been chasing, it was just kind of like, I had to pinch myself. I was like, are we finally here? Are we actually here at this point? And we were. It felt very, very good. It took a few days to actually kind of settle in, because every single morning I was getting up, I had one thing on my mind, which was to optimize my performance and get back to where we were. And then, in a strange way, we actually surpassed where we were. So we overshot in a good way. And it feels very good, I guess, for lack of better words.
Did you feel a lot of pressure going into the match, not only because of the injury, and it's like you're a wrestler coming back from injury, it's a daunting situation in and of itself, but because Finn Balor had been on such an amazing run with NXT Championship matches that that, no pun intended, you had to deliver in this match?
I was aware that there was pressure. I was aware that there was accountability and all that stuff. I have like a weird thing that I developed mentally, psychologically, maybe even spiritually prior to wrestling, where when I get into a fight or flight mode, and very much that day, it felt like this is, a fight day. I don't allow the moment to become bigger than me. And I know that probably sounds like a cool thing to say, and maybe that's not true. Like, it absolutely is. The more pressure, the more accountability that I have in a certain situation or scenario, like even on the extreme end of like life and death situations, like I tend to relax into the nature of what that is. For me, there's less to think about. There's less to worry about. There's less to be concerned about. There's only one task at hand, and I zero in on that. And that's what I did that day.
So you never have moments where you feel like nerves before a match where you're jittery, or is that does that still exist? Is it like excited jitters, or is it just like nope, you're just calm, cool, collected right before a match?
No, the jitters, I still get jitters before matches and stuff like that. But it just, for me, the more intense the situation is, the better I do.
Wow.
And I don't go seeking those overly intense situations in life, but I just happen to find myself in them from time to time, and I do very well. I think it has to do with, I think it probably has to do with combat sports background and stuff like that. Just kind of being under pressure, learning how to be under pressure, learning how to be comfortable under pressure is something that I feel like is a necessity for our industry. And I really kind of lean back on that. It's weird, like all of the nerves for me, like even when I was doing like competitive stuff, martial arts like wrestling or grappling, judo, the nerves are gone the moment I make contact with people. It's always like the last few hours before the bell rings, it's like, all right, and you just need to like learn to find comfortability in being uncomfortable.
Well, you guys had one of my favorite matches of the weekend. I thought it had such a great like main event feel. It really felt like a main event pay-per-view match. And I wanted to ask if you had any personal favorite matches of the weekend. We had so many wrestling shows from WWE, 2 nights of WrestleMania, 2 nights of NXT TakeOver. Did you have any that caught your eye?
Rhea Ripley winning the championship title at Mania against Asuka was probably my favorite moment of the entire weekend. I got to meet her upon being hired. Scarlett and she's always been a favorite of ours. We love her personally and professionally. So to see her have that moment, especially in front of all of those people, we've been dying to get back to that. It's priceless.
She had like the full experience too. She had the personalized entrance, someone singing her theme. People were going crazy for that win as well. She got like such a great reaction for actually beating Asuka and getting the title. So that's a great moment to call out.
Oh, it's amazing. Like it was awesome. I had goosebumps just thinking about it right now. I'm getting goosebumps. So that was my thing right there. That was my match for the whole week.
That's awesome. So I'd like to ask you something that I ask all of our guests, and it's what was your first memory of wrestling?
The very first memory I could even recall in my life was Ultimate Warrior beating Hulk Hogan.
Really? WrestleMania 6?
I'm really very serious about that.
I just
Because
interviewed Seth Rollins, and he had the same exact answer. He said the
really,
same exact thing. Yeah.
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there you have it. Like, I was an 85 kid. That's when I was born. And I remember seeing that on my television. It's literally the first memory I could recall. That was just like, that was it. I became enamored at that point. I really feel like I say this joking, like I was pre-programmed, you know what I mean, as a child to just like completely fall in love with this. And that moment was like burned into my mind. And I just fell in love with the spectacle of the whole thing, all of this energy in the building going in one direction,
Yeah.
just all of it.
Was it someone that introduced it to you? Was it a father or even a mother or a brother? Because for me, I have an older brother that was 12 years older than me, and he introduced me to wrestling. So he introduced me to WrestleMania 6 right away. That was like one of the first things I ever watched. Was it someone like that for you?
My whole father's side of the family watched wrestling. So yeah, pretty much.
When you actually get into wrestling, who are your first heroes? Who are your first people where you're like, I want to be that guy?
I don't know if well, I guess I'd have to say Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
You know, Macho Man was occasionally in there from time to time, but Macho Man used to go like extra crazy sometimes. So like as a kid, you're rooting for him 1 minute, and the next minute he's like, hey! And you're just like, bro, you would freak out.
Yeah.
Um, so he was always a wild card out of the three, but it was always Warrior, Hogan, and Macho Man for me as a kid growing up.
If I asked you that question right now, like who do you think of modern day? And you say that's the guy that I want to be now.
I don't mean this in a condescending or a pretentious manner whatsoever. I don't have one. And the
Wow.
reason I don't have one is because I want to protect my own level of personal creativity. I am like hell-bent, man, on carving my own path with Scarlett. Uh, we love the larger-than-life theatrics that are involved with sports entertainment. And, we have our favorites, but we don't want to overly emulate anyone. And so we're not really trying to mold ourselves after anyone. We do callbacks to certain elements in the business that were missing in the current product prior to us being there in terms of the theatrics and stuff like that.
Yep.
We do that on purpose out of respect, and we just know we have our finger on the pulse of what people want to see. And we also kind of meet halfway with, well, this is what people want to see, but like what's not being done, so we can cover the bases of having a product on television that has everything people are looking for. We have luchadors, we have hybrid luchadors, we have power wrestling, we have European chainers, we have strikers, we have all of that. Within that whole entire mix of those types of styles and genres, what can we produce? And we try to find our own path, so to speak.
Obviously, you guys have such a calculated plan and mindset when it comes to the business. Are you guys able to turn it off when you go home? Like, are you guys just working and thinking about wrestling 24/7 at home? Or do you have moments where you're like, all right, for the next hour, let's watch a movie and just turn it off, man?
Oh, it goes right off.
It does. Okay. Good,
It goes
good.
right off.
It
Yeah.
needs to, because oh my God, if you were just like constantly thinking of the next idea, I don't know how you guys would do it.
We went through that phase, and we have a really good balancing act of how to manage personal life and professionalism. Like, it's not a problem at all for either one of us. Every once in a while, an idea will kind of hit us randomly. We'll write it down, and we'll get back to it at the appropriate time. Because we put so much energy, like pretty much all of it and then some, into what you guys are seeing now on Tuesdays. Um, we know that we need to recharge. So we
Mhm.
have our routines, and sometimes our spontaneous activities that we go to get that recharge. So we come back fresh every week.
What were the biggest breakthroughs in your career? I've watched a few interviews with you where you've talked about the journey leading up to NXT, and you've said, hey, maybe some WWE fans just heard of me, but my wrestling journey has been a long time coming. This isn't just starting. It didn't just start in NXT. So what were the big moments in your career where you felt a breakthrough?
3 points, 4 points actually, I would say. My first match with Leon Ruff was probably the most important match of my career, the way I look at it, because that was my initial introduction to the WWE universe. And I thought that that went perfectly. Um, like first impressions are everything in life in general. Had that not gone well, I don't know if we'd even be talking right now. So that was the most pressure I've ever felt in my entire life, was the first match.
Wow.
My second point of breakthrough was with Tommaso Ciampa. That in that match, I was able to demonstrate for the first time sort of a work rate, aside from just dive bombing people on their head, which I love. The third point of breakthrough, I'd probably say, was with Santos Escobar in the street fight, because yet that was another layer of being able to demonstrate a side of performance that people hadn't seen yet. No rules is always a lot of fun. People love to see that. That's always a spectacle, always super violent. And then I would say the match with Finn Bálor. And aside from all of the obvious things that people would probably take away from that match, for me, I felt like I was me again. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful manner to anyone I had worked with prior to that, but there was just a level of organic authenticity that I was just able to, like, we were given a massive amount of time, and I was just able to get myself into this, and not be concerned about where my shoulder was going to be at or how my body was going to respond to hitting the canvas. Like, I feel like I'm totally back in such a way where I feel like I'm a total version of myself right now at this present time. I got that breakthrough from that match.
Would you credit Finn Balor to that a little bit as well? Was he like the perfect opponent for you to return against?
Absolutely. I was pleasantly surprised how much we think alike in terms of creating something together for people to feel and enjoy. For me, I'll speak for myself on this. My goal is to elicit an emotional response out of an audience every time I go out there. I don't throw words to the wind. I don't just say things to say them. I am leaving a trail of breadcrumbs for people every single time you see me. Charlotte does the same thing. When you see the cards on the screen, we're telling you something. And if you're a person who likes the devil in the details, you will be able to have something within that. There's something to play with there. We deliberately do that. We know that's not for everybody. There's a lot of casual viewers that turn on and just want to see people bang heads, and that's cool. We want them. Give them to us. Give us everybody. But like I said before at the beginning of the conversation, we're trying to cover all bases. You know what I mean? That's what we try to do. And that's kind of like, I guess, how I would say, with Finn, I could not have asked for a better person to perform with. So he's worked all around the world. Everywhere he's gone, championship titles have followed, and his pro wrestling IQ is off the chart.
Who are your favorite opponents that you've had throughout your entire career?
Oh, well, I got to say Finn at the top as of right now, for sure. Tommaso Ciampa definitely is one of them. I better not get in trouble for this, but Jon Moxley, Dean Ambrose.
Oh yeah.
I have to say it. I hope he comes back one day. I think he will. I'm not that I would know, or nothing's been said, because people will go crazy with that. But I hope he comes back one day. If he does, he's going to have to go through me, and I think he knows that. We have unfinished business. But people I'm looking forward to in the future, there's quite a lot, and that seems to be floating around on Twitter as of recently.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of main roster appeal, which is also interesting. Which is a good sign, I suppose, for myself as to how people are receiving everything we're doing. So,
yeah. If I flipped it and then said, who have been the greatest mentors for you in your wrestling career, who have those people been?
This may take people as a surprise, but Disco Inferno, believe it or not, has probably been the best mentor that I've had. And the reason being is because he prepared me to understand what this business actually is before I was involved with it at the highest level. Like, he prepared me to understand the business model of what this is at the highest level, which is WWE, to understand like what we're really trying to achieve here, what this company would be looking for within a person, how to go after the goals that I have efficiently and effectively. He taught me more the business mechanics of how television works. And that allowed me to prepare myself to work for television before I was on television. Aside from disco, I would probably definitely say the whole WWE team, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Bloom, Terry Taylor, like the whole crew that I have here. Every single week I learn something new, and I thrive on that. Like, even aside from sports entertainment, in general, I just like to learn things. I'm a sponge. Sometimes at my own exhaustion, I have to turn stuff off sometimes. But the people that I have here have been amazing. So,
I mean, look at the crop of talent that the WWE Performance Center group has produced, right? Just in the past few years alone. It speaks for itself. It's pretty crazy, the team that they have developed down there. Just have a few more questions for you. I know you're a huge music fan, so if the WWE could license any song for you to come out to, entrance-wise, do you have one in your head that you think about?
I'm very much in love with the theme music that we have right now, and I'm not being biased just because Scarlett sings it. But it's funny. I've had so many songs. You know, I'm a very big fan of Gojira, Code Orange. But to me, Code Orange is sacred to Bray, and I would
Yeah.
never want. You know what I mean? Like, I love all of those guys. Obviously, a big fan of Metallica. Danzig is another one.
I've seen interviews where you talked about Metallica. That's what kind of why I asked. I'm such a big Metallica fan myself.
Yeah, what I think would be really cool, and even like some retro stuff too, like retro new wave, I guess is what they call it, like Gunship. I don't know if you've ever heard of
Oh
them.
yeah.
Health is another band that I just got into big time. If you haven't heard that album, I believe the name of the album is Slaves of Fear.
Okay.
You've got to hear it. Like, it's music that literally makes you move. Like, you can be from anywhere on the planet, any culture, any race, any type of society, and you will hear this and it will make you feel something.
I can't wait
Health
to
is
check it out. I'll check it out.
it's
I
awesome.
promise. Yeah.
I would love to see, in a perfect world, Scarlett being able to collaborate with a band for an entrance music. That, to me, if you're asking me, if we're talking about a dream situation scenario, if she could do vocals on a track with a band like that for an entrance thing with WWE, that would be amazing.
That would be amazing. After the pandemic is over, when concerts return, when you could go see a band that you love, who's the first band that you want to see?
Perfect Circle.
A Perfect Circle. Wow. Good call. Good shout. Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, what are your goals for 2021? Karrion Kross, NXT champion.
I want to surpass all expectations. I want to become a household name. I want to be one of the most memorable NXT champions of all time. And that'll just be the beginning.
Wow. I'm looking forward to it. NXT Tuesday nights now. Everyone make sure you get the new night Tuesday. Don't tune in on Wednesday. Nothing's going to be on. And Karrion Kross, you're going to be on there. Thank you very much for the time. I appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to you having a huge 2021.
Thank you, my friend.